Welcome to the Main Allure Podcast. I am your host, Laura, your unofficial mentor and motivator. Welcome to episode 18. And I hope you missed me. Unfortunately, last week I had a lot going on at the same time, and I had to make sure that I took some time to nurture my blessings. So hopefully you don't hate me, but it's something I had to do. But I'm back. So without further ado, let's get into episode 18, in which we're going to talk about what it means and it's something that might sound a little crazy, and that's exactly the point. We're talking about the benefit of being delusional when it comes to achieving your goals. And yes, you heard me right, delusional, or as the Gen Z crowd will say, delulu. So I'm still not used to saying that. But most of us have been taught that we need to live in reality, that the things that we want or wish to have must be within our reach, or else we end up feeling disappointed and discouraged. But what if I told you that the magic in attaining what you want and desire lies in that concept of being delusional? Because sometimes the gap between where you are and where you want to be seems so far-fetched, so wide, that logic alone will talk you out of even trying. But if you can believe that against all odds, you can make it, that belief itself might just be the edge you need to achieve what you want. Now, I have to make something very clear, because when I speak about delusion, I'm not talking about ignoring reality or living in a fantasy land forever. To me, reality is something that, when you think about it, I always consider reality as task-based. And what I mean by that is that it's something that you technically do every day. There are your routines, the things that you must achieve, like paying bills, right? Like it's not exciting. Or sitting in traffic, working, right? Like these are things that we have to do every day. The end goal is always a goal or a dream that you're trying to achieve. But those little routines and Monday tasks, to me, are that reality. In this case, I'm talking about a very specific type of delusion. It's believing in an outcome that hasn't happened yet, even when the evidence isn't in your favor. And it's holding a vision that it's so big, so outrageous that most people will think it's impossible. And it's also having the guts to really show up every day like it's something that's just inevitable, even when nothing around you says that it's working. So why is this useful, you ask? Because the world is full of realists. And again, I was talking about that every day, doing the same thing, right? Like just going to work, doing this, doing that. And that's the truth. Most people are realists who will only believe something can happen once they see proof. But we often think about the visionaries, and these are the people who they have that belief first, that vision, because it becomes the fuel for action. So the secret is that the human brain often performs in line with the level of belief that you feed it. And if you believe that your goal is out of reach, you'll literally find reasons to believe that there's no point in trying. But if you believe it's inevitable, despite how delusional it may seem, you'll take bigger risks, you'll stay committed longer to the goal, and you'll push through moments that will make most people quit. I want you to take a moment and find perhaps a video of planet Earth rotating around the sun, or a view of our galaxy. I know there's some NASA videos out there. And the reason why I recommend this to start is because so often we are completely bogged down by our reality that we forget what it's like to dream. When you see the view of the world from the outside looking in, you'll begin to understand just how, and I hate to say this, insignificant we really are. Try to find yourself within that world, and you'll find yourself looking for a long, long time, and you probably won't find yourself at all. Because within that world, you have people who breathe, think, talk, and feel just like you. And sure, some may have more advantages than others, but there are people who came from nothing and somehow made their dreams come true. And the truth is that you are no different than them. The only difference between you and them in this very moment is that they made a plan, they prepared for it, and they executed it. That's it. The truth is that there are people out there who have everything at their disposal and yet don't have that motivation to start. They may have the talent, but they may not have the resilience to continue trying. So this is where delusion comes in handy. If you want to get to where you want to be, you have to embrace a little bit of delusion, be it in business, your professional and personal goals. Where I do draw the line, though, is with relationships, however, because delusion in love is very different because it requires a lot of give and take between two people specifically, right? You and someone else, which could eventually lead to one of you being taken advantage of. And then if that is not being reciprocated, well, that's a long story. It could lead to disaster. So I don't recommend that when it comes to relationships. I believe that's very black and white. So that's a topic for a different time. But when it comes to business, your goals, this is where delusion will help you achieve more than you could ever imagine. And the truth is that with your dreams and your goals, people will likely support you as long as they see that there's dedication, that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears being put into it, that there's progress towards achieving what you want. The first person may not agree or may not support you, but then maybe the second one will, or the third. Even with this podcast, I have people who text me, send me messages all the time, tell me when they listen to an episode, and I am absolutely grateful for them. I appreciate them wholeheartedly, and those are the types of people that you should have around. People who, no matter what, they're going to support you. No matter what, they're going to believe in you because you are so excited and passionate about something, and that's the goal. Always make sure to pay it back as well. Okay, so what are the benefits of being delusional? And the first is that you break past other people's limits. So most people will set their goals to match what they've already achieved or done. And instead, delusional thinking lets you aim for what you haven't done yet, despite how crazy it may seem. The second one is that you start to build insane resilience. When you believe you're destined to succeed, failure almost seems like a temporary obstacle, not a dead end. The third is that you attract unexpected opportunities, so your conviction makes people curious. The fact that you are so adamant about your goal or whatever it is that you try to achieve, it will make others want to bet on you. So people will likely support you as long as they see your dedication, your progress towards achieving them. So the first person may not agree with you, the second, right? But there's always going to be someone who will be willing to bet on you. And that's a reward in itself. Think about the times when a lot of these big companies had to go out there and pitch their ideas, pitch their products to investors or to people, even their families, right? Like they would come out and say, hey, I have this amazing idea. And people would brush them off and tell them, oh my God, you're crazy, right? Like think about, the invention of, let's say, electricity. If you told somebody who lived, in those caveman days, hey, I'm going to create electricity or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, you probably wouldn't believe them. You would probably think, oh, you're ridiculous. But if nobody would have listened to them, if nobody would have taken the time to provide resources or support or whatever it was, a lot of these inventions that we have today probably would never have become what they are now. The fourth is that you take action others won't. While most people are waiting around for the right time, for the right opportunity, you are not that. You start moving before it even exists, before it shows up. Like I always say, a dream without a plan is just a dream. So the most important thing about anything that you want to create, anything that you want to pursue, is to make sure that you have a plan, to make sure that you prepare, that you're not going in without any idea, any understanding of what you want, because that's really a part of the process. That's a part of understanding how far you can get is by ensuring that you're preparing for it, ensuring that you are ready for it, first and foremost, and that when that time comes, you are ready to shine, you are ready to make that dream happen. And the fifth is that you're changing the rules. So there's always this prescribed way of doing things. And so that's what most people believe. But in your case, people who ignore how things are done often invent entirely new paths to success. Maybe your path is completely different from everyone else's, and that's okay. Think back to that image of the world, the universe, and all of these social constructs that we have built, that society has built for us, right? It's not necessarily something that whoever you believe in, right? Whether it's God or no God, whatever, it's not something that was created by that, right? Like these are rules and customs and social constructs that were created by humans. And so when you take a step back and look at the universe, that's one of the things that I'm always amazed by is that, yes, we definitely have these rules, but in the end, some of these rules are ridiculous. They're not one size fits all. So if there's any way that you can get to where you need to be that makes the most sense to you, right? That's the way that you know it's best for you. By any means, go for it, pursue it. I encourage you to go for it because sometimes the way that society makes us believe that things need to go a certain way and need to be done in a certain time frame or with a certain idea in mind, then we're definitely doing ourselves a disservice because at the end of the day, we have some autonomy. We have some say in the way that we want to live our lives and the way that we want to pursue all of the things that we wish to pursue. Especially when you start to look at the world and realize that, we're not going to be here long enough to see what this is going to look like in 100, 200, 1,000 years from now. So this is that small window where you can make a difference, where you can make a change. And I definitely encourage you not to squander it. This is your moment. So take that bull by the horns and make it happen. Now, what can you do to use productive delusion in your own life? Here are some tips that I can provide. The first one is set a goal that scares you. If the goal that you're setting is, okay, I'm going to go to college and get a job, well, guess what? That's not that's not delusional, right? That's very achievable. So if it feels reasonable, it's probably not stretching your imagination enough. So every time that you build one, say, okay, then what? Right? And then build another goal on top of that. Then say again, then what? So once you start getting to your fourth and fifth goal, the goals themselves should be looking a little ridiculous as you add on to them. So the second one is surround yourself with believers. And this is so important because you have to find people who reinforce your vision, not those who shrink it. So if you're surrounded by people who just tell you all the time, well, that's impossible, that's not going to happen, or you're crazy for going that route or doing this, then yes, you're going to find yourself feeling limited, discouraged, oftentimes, not wanting to keep going. But the truth is that reality is their reality. It means that they're thinking through their own limitations, not yours. The third is act as if you're already there because that is a part of the process. And you've always heard this about people who say, well, if you want to be the manager, if you want to be the boss, you have to dress like a boss. You have to talk like one, speak, show up like a boss. You have to exemplify who you want to be first, because in the end, those same behaviors, the way you talk and make decisions, they will eventually help you reach the level that you so want to achieve. Because at that point, you're speaking from the future version of yourself. Number 4 is ignoring the scoreboard too early. So a lot of times there are many great ideas that look like failures before they become breakthroughs. And if you think about scientists and people who have been trying to create solutions for many different things, right? Diseases and things like that. Imagine if they would have just given up at the first try or the second. You have to continue on to find that breakthrough, and you'll be so happy that you did. The last one is translate your belief into relentless action. Delusion itself without work is just daydreaming. In order to achieve transformation, you have to add belief with effort. Because we could sit here and dream all day long, manifest, create lists, all of these things. But if we're not setting things in motion, we're practically on a train going nowhere. So make sure that with those intentions, you are creating a plan, a way for you to start taking action so that one day you can say that you've achieved that one thing that you've always wanted. And I would be absolutely excited to see you succeed, because nothing makes me happier than seeing and experiencing that joy and happiness that other people feel whenever they're achieving something that they've always wanted. So make sure you're not just making a plan. Make sure that you're acting on it too. The truth is that every big dream will sound impossible until it's done. And every person who's changed the world was a little bit delusional at the start. The trick isn't just believing in something that isn't real yet. It is showing up every single day until it is. So that next time that someone calls you unrealistic, delusional, say, hey, thank you. And you're probably on the right track. Until next time, keep dreaming big and moving bold. Make those crazy, ridiculous goals, write them down, and stick to them. Because the world needs more of your kind of delusion. And with delusion, we can all create good trouble. Until next time, take care. Bye.